morning, everyone. This is Sarah Berman, and you are watching Practically Writing. Today, for the first time in forever, see, the voice is still gone. For the first time in forever, I am doing vlog. Yay! Now, ironically, the last vlog that I did was quarterly goals, and that was a year ago. So why not just pick up where we left off and go over those goals and how I actually did. Spoiler alert, not so good. I kind of went down the great big spiral of mental illness and crashed and burned, so I didn't get nothing done. Okay, I got some things done, but it was, I'm still here. I shaved my head, and then I did this punky thing. I like the punk thing, so I'm probably gonna keep it for a while. Yeah, so still here, still the usual silly me, so I'm gonna call that a win. And let's get started. Okay, the first goal that I had a year ago was vlog 2 times a month. Obviously not. So when you barely get out of bed most days and focus all of your energy on just doing things like getting the kids to school and such like that, you probably don't actually take showers much and get dressed and made up and to the point where you can present yourself on camera. So yeah, that did not happen. Obviously doing better. Number 2 was newsletters, and I did actually keep up on my newsletters. 2 caveats on that. As a lot of you know, I actually had 5 newsletters going. One of those newsletters I decided was doing nothing, and I wasn't really writing in that area anymore. So I cut it. I cut the newsletter. It was the newsletter that got me started doing newsletters, and I took it out back and burned it. Metaphorically, it was digital. Come on. And then I think in October or November, I decided to cut my erotica and romance newsletters from once a month to once every other month, simply because I don't write nearly as much in those genres as I do the rest. So there just wasn't enough news to put in the newsletters, and it was becoming much more of a burden than a joy. And I prefer to, at least, I'm not saying that you always have to present yourself in a happy way, and I don't. I try to be brutally honest about certain things. But, I mean, let's face it, you don't follow an author newsletter, especially a romance erotica newsletter, to hear people, cry. So I decided that doing it once every other month would not only reduce my stress, but also improve the quality of what I was putting out rather than making it a kind of a struggle every month. So I'm down to 2 newsletters every month, and they're more or less identical, so it's pretty easy to get those out. And then 2 newsletters every other month. That is completely sustainable. Unfortunately, I kind of shot myself in the foot in the first place because I didn't think very far ahead when I did this. So I skipped December, and then January was the every other month, and then I looked around and I'm like, oh wait, it's February. I can't not put out a romance erotica newsletter, which goes out, by the way, on the 14th of the month, on February 14th. Like, yeah, that's no. So I had to change that. Otherwise, it is going smashingly. I feel a lot more optimistic about getting my newsletters done. It's less of a struggle for me to get my brain into the place where I can actually get it done, because anybody who's ever had any problems with mental illness knows that pretty much the first thing to go is executive function and the ability to actually follow through on plans, or even, make plans, or, things like that. It's you want to do things, but you get stuck actually doing them. Number 3 was prep for the Nebraska Writers Guild Conference Workshop, and I did get that done, and it was a smashing success. Interesting news about this year's conference, held in April. It has been canceled, or rather it's been pushed back and merged with the kind of half conference that we have in October, so it'll be in October instead. I'm really pushing for them to do something digitally online for a conference, just to offer some people, something to do. Since I'm the only one who really knows much about that, it's going to be kind of me pushing it. And again, motivation and executive function, it's really hard for me to be the driving force right now. So I'm kind of taking that easy. All right, number 4 was SciCon. That was interesting. It was a success, and I did figure most everything out. We had a lot of problems with a lot of things during the whole process, and it was really stressful, and I think that's part of the reason why I ended up stopping so many things and then just never picked them back up. It was kind of a win-lose for me because it was rather successful. I did my best to power through it, but I think it took way more out of me than I had anticipated. So, success, yeah. Okay, number 5 was the masterclass, and I said that I was getting the masterclass for the Neil Gaiman masterclass. I actually ended up going for the year-long subscription and then renewed it again this year because, oh my god, they're so good. Obviously, it's not just the writing ones that I was really into, and they keep adding new things, and I'm like, there's some entrepreneurial ones. I don't watch them a lot. I'd say I get through maybe one a month, which isn't too bad, so yay. The writing ones are just spectacular. There's screenplay writing ones, there's comedic writing ones, there's crime thriller writing ones. Even authors that I don't particularly read well. Okay, so Dan Brown, I believe, is one of the authors. And I don't much care for his books, but it's a matter of taste. So, it has nothing to do with the quality or lack thereof of his writing. But obviously he's a success. And so hearing him talk about the process that he uses that resulted in such success is, it was actually really inspirational and gave me some great ideas. So, I did watch the Neil Gaiman class. Oh my god, would recommend that to anybody who has any desire to be an author. And I'll probably even watch it again. There's class discussion forums and things like that. It's well worth it for the level of classes that you're getting. So, it's cheaper than college. Okay, number 6 was editing. And I have kept up the editing. I slowed it way down. A lot of that is based on the fact that if I'm not writing because I feel like I have too much on my plate, then adding editing jobs, yes, gives me more spending money, but does not solve the core problem of me having no time to write. I've cut way back on that. I'm actually currently kind of between gigs. I have a return client who is preparing to swamp me, so I'm trying to get some writing done while that is still kind of pending. Number 7, run BookBub ads for the Chains That Bind release. I'm going to say no. I think I actually did end up running an ad or two, but essentially we were in a place where we had a lot of financial issues come up and we didn't have the money for me to spend as much as I wanted to. That's something I'm kind of looking forward to revisiting at some point. Number 8 was set up a book signing for the Chains That Bind release. I did not do this. And a lot of it was due to the issues that I was going through. One of the main effects of all of that is absolute social anxiety. And my social anxiety actually presents itself as anger and rage, so I tend to get like really snippy, which probably isn't a great thing when I'm trying to sell books. So, customer service 101. So I decided not to impose all of that stuff onto the general public. You don't deserve that. Number 9, author interviews. 2 author interviews and or podcasts, and this is yes. One of the things that I did actually manage to do this whole time is keep up on doing some podcasts and some interviews. It's really nice because if I find a show that, like me and the hosts get along well, and it's not specifically, like the topic isn't specifically focused on this author does this, it's more of a general topic kind of thing. I really like to go back to those shows and do them again and again because, it's like you don't have to worry about establishing that comfort level. Did a couple of just written kind of interviews, so managed to accomplish that. 10, writing routine. This did not happen at all, and on the upside, because of what was going on and because of the needs of the family, I did actually manage to force myself into a routine, not necessarily writing routine, but a routine, which I've managed to keep up for pretty much the entire year. Because the thing is, my husband goes to work like really, really early in the morning. So I have to be the one to get up and get the kids going and get the kids to school and things like that. If I don't, they don't go to school, and then, bad things happen. I managed to get myself a somewhat established daily routine, which has worked out fairly well. Okay, 11. Catching up on mail and email. I've actually done this a couple of times. I need to do it again, actually, because COVID-19 makes people crazy. I've learned that so hardcore. Okay, number 12. Taxes. I have accomplished this twice. I did last year's taxes and got them in on a timely manner, and I did this year's taxes. Number 13. Finish Her Beloved Disaster. No, I did not do this. I have actually not managed to finish a single thing. Wait. Yeah, I haven't managed to finish a single thing in the entire year that I was gone. So, that is really where my feelings happened. Number 14 is release Precious Scars. That is yes. I actually did a series of releases at the end of this last year, 2019, and got all of my short stories out, and gorgeous covers. Blew my entire budget for that quarter on covers, but yeah, so I got that one done. Yay, sense of accomplishment. 15, prep Her Beloved Disaster for release. Obviously not. 16, write thread reader. Nope, again, haven't hardly worked. I think I've written like a grand total of, I did work on Blood of the Moon a little bit, so maybe 2 or 3 chapters the entire year from February to February. This last month I've actually been working really hard on a short story, so I have been getting some writing done more recently. And 17, date night once a month. Did keep that up, actually kept that up and then added 2. We did our date night group once a month, and then we actually expanded to doing a Monday night coffee with another group, and that was weekly, so all of that is indefinitely canceled. On the upside, I have kept in contact with most of these people through various chat groups I think that's probably the biggest struggle. Like, it's so hard for me to force myself to be social. I'm an introvert, but I enjoy conversation. Like, I crave conversation. It's just the I know it's going to be draining eventually. When I finally get done, I'm like, ugh. But it's draining, yes, and the getting ready part is a real struggle for me. But I love doing it. The fact that I was getting all of this stuff and being social and doing things and doing them regularly, and establishing these connections and things like that. And then this freaking virus pops up and is like, no, don't be social no more. It's like, do you hate me? Do you hate me? I think you might hate me. That's where my current struggle is, but whatever. Oh my gosh. Social distance. Social distance yourself. So, the total count on this is 10 yeses, 2 half and halves, and 6 no's. So, better than half, but gosh, still crappy. I mean, I told you it was going to be crappy. So, there were a lot of things that were more kind of yes buts. Hopefully, things are looking up now, and out with the old, in with the new. I know it's like almost 4 months late for New Year's, but whatever, you can restart your life every single day. Starting over. New life, new me, new goals. Hey, goals. So I'm doing second quarter goals, not first quarter goals, because I have 3-4 days left in this quarter, so it would be silly to do first quarter goals. Number 1, blog. I didn't even decide on a schedule for this because, you know what, I'm really, really tired of apologizing for breaking these promises, and I'm also really, really tired of breaking the promises because I come into it with so much optimism and hope, and then stuff happens and it's like, well, yeah. And then I feel bad because I didn't meet the goal, so then it's like it becomes more of a struggle to even do anything. So, you know what? I'm just gonna vlog. I'm gonna vlog when I can, where I can. Well, maybe not where I can, but I'm gonna vlog when I can, as much as I can, and that's what I'm gonna promise. I'm gonna do it as much as I can. That's it. Number 2, newsletters. The one stable force in my life has been newsletters. Because of that, I would really recommend that if you're at all interested in what I'm writing, just sign up for the newsletter, okay? Sign up for the newsletter. You're always going to get the information. Those I'm going to just, try and keep on the same schedule that I had before. Keep that up. Keep it up. One thing. Just one thing that I managed to always do. One thing. Yeah. Number 3, I'm just going to make this regular mails and emails, primarily because with the whole COVID-19 thing, holy crap. Everybody and their dog is absolutely terrified of the fact that my children are going to starve to death because they're not eating school lunches, and they're going to just all of a sudden become stupid because they're not going to class on a regular basis. Okay, the schools call me and leave voicemails telling me that they sent out an email and to follow the instructions on the email. Literally, they sent out 3 emails before we did the whole, we're going to be working from home thing. One was, we've decided to work from home. Stay tuned for more news. The second one was, we have a plan. Stay tuned for the plan. And the third one was, this is what the plan is. I'm like, dudes, you could have sent 1 email instead of got 3 to go through. And yeah, it's not like 1 email makes or breaks you, but the thing is, everybody's doing that. Everybody's sending out these emails. This is our update for COVID-19. 3rd update of the dang week. Come on. Yeah, no touchy. Got it. No touchy. I end up with somewhere between 50 to 100 emails a day. That's just emails. That's not even counting mail. So I have to put getting mail and email taken care of into my schedule somewhere. Speaking of which, number 4, a schedule. And I'm talking like a weekly schedule. I've kind of got my daily format figured out, which is great. It's actually in the process of resettling because now the children are home most days. Getting the kids set on a schedule, getting me set on a schedule for every day we're still hashing out the details of that. But I also need a weekly schedule. So like on Mondays I do articles, on Tuesdays I do Hootsuite. That's the extent of my weekly schedule at this point. But if I do Monday I do articles, Tuesday I do Hootsuite, and Wednesday maybe on Wednesday I check mail and emails. Maybe on Thursday I do videos, whether it's for the vlog or for other things. But I need to establish a weekly schedule, and I need to get that set. It's not that people who follow a routine are boring. It's that people who follow a routine know what they're supposed to do. They can choose to not do it, but they know what they're supposed to do. And it makes it easier to get things done. Like if you have to do things every week, if you have to do things every day, then being in a routine to do that means that you don't have to sit there and remember and plan it out and figure out what you're doing. And you already know. You already know it's in your routine. You can break that, but you're more likely to get it done if it's a routine. Okay, number 5. Update my social media and website. I've done this piecemeal so many times, but most of the time it's just, I've got a new book out, I need to make sure that's in there. I've got this out, I need to make sure that's in there. Really what I need to do is kind of like establish a concept of what I want my social media and website to do together, and where I want the focus to be, and build a holistic system. I mean, I have all the parts, I'm sure, but it's like IKEA. I have a whole bunch of parts. I need to put it together. And so I kind of need to know what I'm supposed to build. So number 6, this kind of goes along with number 5, and that's update my swag and get all of that situated. So, number 7, continue with the interviews and podcasts. It's a great way to keep my pretty face out there on the interwebs. It gives me a way to like expand my platform without actually having to expand my own platform. I'm just like jumping onto other people's platforms for a little bit. Yay! It's highly productive and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Number 8, articles for Patreon and Our Own Worlds. Okay, so I need to backtrack here. Our Own Worlds. I was just sitting around one day, minding my own business, and a friend of mine, an author friend of mine, who has migrated almost solely over to Twitter, essentially says, hey, we should start a website. She wasn't talking directly to me. She tagged me among other people, but she was mostly talking to her Twitter fiends. The idea of the website is that we're all sci-fi fantasy authors, non-male, or at least non-cis male. Sci-fi fantasy from the industry standpoint, not the reader standpoint, because readers don't usually pay too much attention to who an author is. They're more likely to pay attention to an author if they're trying to find that author because they like that author, or they're trying to avoid that author, but mostly because they like that author. And so not from the reader standpoint, but from the industry standpoint, sci-fi fantasy is still vastly controlled by men. And this does affect us in the sense that the industry kind of dictates who wins the awards. The industry kind of dictates who ends up on the lists of sci-fi fantasy authors you need to read. So those lists, those awards tend to be very, very short on women and transgender. So the idea was, let's start a platform that focuses on lending a certain validity and gravitas to authors who are women, trans, LGBTQ, etc., and particularly those who include those things in their books. And I was like, okay, oops, we did that. So we started a website called Our Own Worlds, a play on Our Own Words. It is reader focused, so I highly recommend you check it out. Every single author, including the founding authors, has to go through a vetting process in which at least 3 other authors who are already members, or in the case of the founding authors, we just kind of vetted each other. But, I mean, we've already turned down like 3 people for not being up to snuff. And that's the thing. What we want is authors who are actually published and who are published with quality work. We understand different stylistic choices. We totally understand that. Ignoring grammar is not a stylistic choice when it pervades your entire book. It's a stylistic choice if, somebody's talking a certain way like that. We understand these things. We're not going to knock people for that. We also look at the ability of an author to create a plot arc. And whatever that plot arc looks like is completely your choice. But there should be, an actual plot arc. Like, things happen, they're all connected, there's some sort of maybe growth or change or, just a lot of death and dismemberment, whatever, we don't care. We're not picky about what your choices are. We're picky that you understand how to tell a story. And use a period once in a while. Maybe commas too. So we have a group of authors who are up to a very specific standard. All of the authors have their own page on the website. You can check out all of their books. We do book reviews, not just of the authors who are members, but of other books as well. We do articles on stuff that's going on, either related to our writing or related to things that affect our writing, or things like that. It requires traffic. One of the things about that is that if you're an author member, then it's not like a hardcore schedule, but you should try and submit an article once a week. Or sometimes, if we have enough authors who are doing this regularly, then people can share a day. But, and because of all the stuff that's going on, it's been a little bit spotty lately. And because of that, I, being who I am, feel an extra obligation to make sure that my articles get done, because then we're generating content. Yay. So I know when somebody else is involved, I feel the pressure to generate content. When it's my stuff, I'm like, ugh. So I'm writing articles for that site and for Patreon. Number 9, editing. Like I said, I do have a client who is getting ready to kind of swamp me, so I am keeping up on the editing, at least to a certain degree. Mostly it's one of those things that I like to keep around as kind of a thing to do, because sometimes the writing gets a little overwhelming. For me, the writing is actually a lot of work. I still want to do it, but it's a lot of work. It's not a catharsis, it's not a relief, it's not a drive, it's the thing that I have to do because I think these stories need to be shared. Sometimes getting somebody else's work and editing that is a really great change of pace and really helps with keeping my focus. Number 10, even though the Nebraska Writers Guild Conference did get rescheduled, like I said, I'm pushing for some digital stuff, and I did get approved for a workshop/class at the conference. So even though it's not a really high priority item at this point, I do have a workshop to make, so there you go. 11, Okay, this is going to be interesting because it has subparts. Number 11 is the schedule for writing and putting out books. I'm focusing more on the writing aspect than the putting out of books, but essentially creating the schedule or at least the order in which I'm going to be writing these books. And I have the first 5 already. I have an anthology that I'm submitting to that is an anti-hero anthology. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm writing a short story called The Switchblade Tattoo. And that is turning out to be actually a lot more hardcore than I anticipated. Oh my gosh. I'm worried about this because, I don't know why. I mean, I'm not the most hardcore writer ever in existence, but it's pretty hardcore. But it's what's coming out, so there you go. So I hope people like it, and I'm actually trucking right along. I've already got over 5,000 words, and I'm shooting for between 10 and 20,000 words for the length. The second one is for another anthology that's in the fall. This one's a vampire anthology. It's a charity anthology for anemia, I think it is. I'll have to double check that. That one's called Enthralled. It may change. But, that anthology story is what I'm going to be writing next. And it's a short story as well. The third one is to finish Blood of the Moon. Oh my gosh, I've got to get this done. I know I've been saying that for so long, and it deals a lot with helplessness in the face of systemic problems and overwhelming odds and just being faced with things that you can't control or fix. The fourth one is Her Beloved Disaster. Again, just gotta get it done. I've gotta get it done. And the last one is Thread Reader, which is the first book in Magus Chronicles. Again, just one of those that I have to get done. Oh my gosh. I do have a ton of other whips that are going to get put into the rotation, and I need to organize them and figure them out, and I'll probably actually do an entire video on that schedule, once I get it set up, on that schedule, and why I'm putting them in the order that I am, kind of like this is what I'm doing and why, so that maybe you can figure out what to do for your own stuff, kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, 12. There we go. 12. Survive quarantine. Okay, so I know it's not technically quarantine, but the self-isolation thing is, even for introverts, it's really hard because introverts don't hate people. Introverts don't hate socializing. Introverts are just very picky about what they do. We want to do it on our own terms. Period. End of story. We don't want to feel pressured into doing things. And being pressured into staying home is literally just as bad as being pressured into going out. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go to a rave or, but I also don't want to be told that I can't go to a coffee shop and hang out and people watch, or go to a coffee shop and hang out with a friend and people watch and chat and such. Not just that, but also having the kids home, the pervasive stress of, just surviving all of that. Please comment on this video or send me a message or whatever you're comfortable with on what you're doing to survive the whole self-isolation thing, some tips on it, and also what's got you majorly concerned about it. Or if you're not majorly concerned about it, great. Awesome. Yes. There's a reason to worry, but there's also too much worry. That balance is really, really hard to meet, especially with all of the weird things that are going around. It's hard to dig in and figure out what's the truth and what's real. Comment below on your self-isolation and, just whatever you want to tell me about it, or, tell everybody about it. We need each other, and we need to support each other. So Do it. Do it. Okay, the last one, number 13, is, well, okay, I'm not going to say it because it is an extremely personal goal. It does have to do with my mental health issues. It does have to do with my family issues. It does have to do with all of this other stuff. So, working on that. And I'm going to leave it at that. You know, I've tried to be as transparent as I can with a lot of these, especially since this is not a channel about mental health. I mean, it's a channel about writing. I want everybody to understand that if you need to talk to somebody, if you need to share something, do it. Share it with me. Shouting into the void can be so nihilistic. But if you shout at me, I will hear you, and I will do what I can to help you, whether it's resources, whether it's just saying, you know what, you can keep going. One of the most important things I've ever said to anybody dealing with stress and mental health and all of that is, you have a right to feel this way. I had a friend her husband cheated on her in a very bad way and then left her. She had a little breakdown and she was very apologetic about it, and I said, look, don't apologize. This is a crap situation, and even when you're making the right choice, it's a crap choice. You had two crappy choices to pick from, and it's okay to be upset about that. It's okay to be upset because a relationship didn't work out. You can decide to end a relationship and still regret the fact that that relationship didn't work out. It is okay to do that. You can feel crappy about things that are happening. You can feel bad about the fact that this didn't work out. You can feel, you have the right to mourn what should have been. You have the right to mourn what ought to be. You have the right to feel that. I hope you understand. You, right there. You understand. Whatever you are going through, you have the right to feel that way. The restrictions are on behavior. We don't have the right to act out all of our feelings. And, you know, quite frankly, it's not healthy to act out on all of our feelings because, I mean, come on, human beings are freaking little bundles of crazy chihuahua energy of feelings all over the place. It's crazy. You don't want to act out on all those. But you have the right to feel them, and every single one of those feelings in that moment is valid. And anybody who tells you differently can come and say that to my face, and I will gladly go rage machine on them. I'm not even joking. Like, I have anger issues about that now. You have the right to be upset when things don't work out. You have the right to be jealous when somebody else gets something that you want. Or even if somebody gets something that you don't want, but they're just so dang happy and they've accomplished something and you've been struggling and you haven't gotten what you wanted, but they got what they wanted. The jealousy is normal. Come on, people, it's normal. Doesn't mean you shank them, but you have the right to be, you have the right to have that little tint of green in your eyes for a few minutes. Come on. You have the right to have feelings. You have the right to look at the world and say, you know what, this is not fair. You have the right to look at the world and say, you know what, this is awesome. You have the right to look at the world and say, I would change the whole thing if I could. And you have the right to look at people and say, I love you, but you cannot be in my life anymore. You have the right to look at people and say, I love you, and I want you in my life forever. You have these rights. This is what you deserve it. You deserve to be able to feel, and you deserve to be able to honor your feelings. Just don't act on all of them, because that's where you get in trouble. But feel them. Cry in the bathroom. Cry on my shoulder. I will be glad to get messages from anybody who needs to talk. Anybody at all. Because I know what it's like to not have anybody listening to you. I know what that's like. And it's not a place you want to be. Okay, so this has gotten weirdly emotional and personal. Some announcements. I do have a bunch of short stories available for 99 cents, even more than last time, so check those out. You can still get the first 3 books of the Rune Spells series. I swear I'm working on book 4. I am so working on book 4. It is coming, I promise. Don't forget to check out the links below. Follow my newsletter for really big news. Don't forget to check out Our Own Worlds. It's not just about me, it's about all of the other authors who are there. And, like I said, really good authors. They're good authors. We are literally making sure that they're good authors. I am going to be essentially organizing my life and trying to get back into the swing of things and dealing with this self-isolation thing. Stay safe, stay socially distanced. Peace out to everyone. And keep calm. Send me a message if you need to vent or stress or whatever. Support each other, care about each other. I'm not going to say love each other because that's too hardcore an emotion for most people. We need to be okay with just, giving a crap. Just give a crap about each other. There you go. We'll see you next time. I think I had like a little emotional vomit moment there. Bleh. I'm back in the saddle again. I don't know. I mean, it's cheaper than college. I think anything's cheaper than college. I don't know, but I've been told you never grow up, you never grow old. I do online banking, and my online banking programs are sending me emails about how they're dealing with the virus. It's like, how the heck are you even affected by this? Let your employees work from home, and everybody's still online banking. It's not difficult. I don't understand. You deserve the best me I can be in the army. COVID-19 makes people crazy. I've learned that so hardcore.